Grand Rising, Ephraim. Welcome back to the front line. I want you all to get in the van. We're taking a ride today. Yes, we are. We're going to go visit the sons. What sons, Shamar? Samar. You know, I had been saying Shamar for so long. It's the hardest thing in the world to get away from saying Shamar sometimes, you know. Let's put it on Do Not Disturb. But I have to remind myself, guys, that Ephraim didn't say shh. Okay, we didn't use those words together. It would have remained silent. So, even I am a work in progress, guys. When I came to you guys, I want you to recognize that I am on this journey with you guys. Okay, Mama is at work. Okay, guys. Why do I want to visit the sons today? Because I want to say this to the sons. As a woman, when you find out that your whole existence has been designated by what you've given birth to, you feel betrayed. When you start looking at the things that have gone wrong in your life, as a woman, most times you'll see a man in that. And sometimes it's hard to separate the hatred I feel for those kind of men from the love I feel for Ephraim's men. And sometimes it's hard to recognize, as a woman, your struggle, man of Ephraim. Because you are outnumbered here. You're being held captive too. I'm sharing with you guys a little bit today, sons. This daughter's going to fall back a little bit today. Because I want us to remember that there is a special group, a very, very special group of men that Mama loves, that are walking this plane with us. We don't get to see them daily, ladies, because unfortunately they are outnumbered. Yeah, they are. The Creator said we were chosen because we were the fewest in number. Right, guys? And if we're the fewest in number, sorry y'all, I couldn't see. I'm sitting here in the dark. Don't want to turn on the lights too early. Wake up Gavin. We were the fewest in number. So sons, I want to tell you that if no one's told you, we appreciate you. We love you. I'm a son. We love you. You are not the man that the mama wanted to wipe off. And she knows she doesn't want to because she's hidden something, I believe, inside of you guys. We got to recognize every time this blessing was revealed, right? And passed down to a son that I believe a lot of it had to do with fertility. And so for it to be told to Abraham, you're going to have a son, and that son will become, great towards many nations, it's all sounding like a fertility blessing of some sort. And I say to myself, everybody was having kids then, so what was so different? What was mama bringing that was going to be so different? What was this blessing, right? This blessing of the breast and the womb. It was something about when you get into the womb of Israel. It was something about when these sons watered that right seed. There was something about that Israel showed up there. Come on, guys. I'm going to take y'all back to Genesis 49. But I want to keep strong coordinates in this. And I think from here on, this is what we need to be doing. like I said earlier, guys, in order to crack this code, you're going to have to read every word as far as the Strong's Concordance for each passage, guys, to get a full understanding of what this book is telling you. Because there are things that we have overlooked. There are things we've overlooked, guys. Prime example. Let me show y'all this real quick. Let me go to 48 real quick before we start in 49. Show y'all what I mean by this. I got to dig into this more deeply. Shout out to you, Michael Brown. You mentioned the maps. Boy, oh boy, we're in trouble. Because the maps are going to show us that Israel, right, is in the north. Now watch when Joseph's hand, the right hand, is laid on Ephraim, what it tells us. Notice it's connected to the feminine blessing, right? And where is that blessing located? I thought Israel was in the north. Where is this blessing of the right hand located? It's going to tell us the south. Now watch this. Where is this blessing of the left hand putting us? In the north. Manasseh has the left hand on him. Manasseh should be in the north. And Ephraim looks like Seminole right there, right? Check this out. And Ephraim, the hand of the right hand, right? Where is it at? The right hand is the south. They've definitely flipped our maps. They've definitely flipped our maps, because this entire time we've been saying we're the northern kingdom. And I've been calling the south the dirty south, haven't I? But look who's connected to the south if we're going by where those hands were placed. You see why you got to dig on these words? You see? It's going to tell you everything you need to know. Believe it. Believe it. Once you start digging into these words, and look how many there are. Can Samar do all of this? Could, but it's hard work, guys. Let's go back to 49. I just wanted to show y'all that real quick, because obviously we've been flipped. You see that, my brother Michael Brown? We've been flipped. We do need to get in these maps. Figure out what's going on. Let's go to Joseph, right? Joseph is a fruitful bough. Even a fruitful bough by a well, whose branches run over the wall. Last week we got into the branches, didn't we? And we saw that the branches were the daughters running over that wall they built. We're going to be the almond tree, waking up and seeing this first, and therefore waking up other people. We're going to wake mama's sons up. And hey, something ain't right here. Can't you see it? We're tapping you on the shoulder, brother. Something ain't right here. But we focused on the daughters last week, right? So that's not what we're here for today, guys. No, we're not here for the daughters. I give us enough shout outs. We're here for the sons. Because Joseph has a mighty bow, right? Anybody know what a bow is? Joseph is a fruitful bow by a well, whose branches run over the wall. Anybody know what a bow is? The bow is going to be your strongest part on that tree. Look what we got Krista to make us today, guys. You're going to be the strongest branch. See those other branches there? But the strongest one is the one I wouldn't prune back. You know what pruning is? That's when you cut off the useless limbs. At some point, Mama's going to be pruning. She's going to be pruning and cutting back the useless bows. But the one that'll stand is that arm attached to Ephraim. Mama has some sons here, guys. Yes, she does. A young calf, Syria, builder, as a builder of the family name in the widest sense. I don't know if we were going by last names here. I mean, since they came in, everything looks so different. When they came in, you were a husband, just like Noah. You were a tiller of the soil. Not this bondage where she is not free. She was free. And you didn't care. You loved to see her free. Because you recognized she was a blessing to you. Husbandman. That's what you were. Tiller of the soil. Look at all these words under the suns. NASB translation. Look at all these words. Associated with the sons. There are a group of sons out here who are doomed. There are. But it's not Israel's sons. Not the ones that are hearing Mama. They're in tune with that X they're carrying. Something about Mama's sons. There's something about Mama's sons, guys. And I think I know what it is. I can only speculate today. But I think I know what it is. So let's go back. Okay, so we know that the bow, right, that is being spoken of is Joseph's sons. The archers grieve him. The husband is in here. You see that? That's what they came with to Yeshua's. Paterfamilias. The Hammurabi laws. Every man is to be a king in his household. So what did that do to me? Did that make me a queen? No. I became your servant. That's what it did to me. This law raised you up. But what did it do to me? What has it done to our land? This law. Let's keep going. They hated the daughters. And they hated the sons of Joseph. Because the sons of Joseph respected the daughters. They loved the daughters, except those sons of Bough that betrayed us and went after daughters of other nations. There's some of that amongst Israel too. Oh, we got a lot to talk about, Ephraim. So just like we know there are sons of mama, right? There are sons that aren't of mama, that are making it hard for you. Son of mama. Yeah, there's this group of men, man, that I guess we could call it bullying, right? That bully the other men that are subjected to this. Let's get into this toxic masculinity. Reminds me of neurotoxins, which we're going to have to get into, guys. What is toxic masculinity and how it impacts mental health, right? If you've been around for the past few years, you've probably heard of toxic masculinity. You probably also heard that it's bad, it needs elimination. This isn't going to be another why is it bad and here's why all men are bad. Instead, I'll briefly summarize toxic masculinity, why it poses problem to men and the broader society, and touch on some specific steps men can take to start helping themselves and society at large. These little tips he's going to give is not going to help mama's sons, because this group of men outnumber mama's sons. We were already told this. So just like it's been hard here for me, son, I want to acknowledge today that it has to be hard for you, because you hear that other ex and you don't deny it. As a matter of fact, you stand up for that other ex. And as a result, they're going to call you all kinds of stuff in the book, ain't they? They might try to fight you. They might try to bully you. They want to pick on you daily because they know there's something special about you too. Check it out. Below are the core tenets of toxic masculinity. Toughness. Men are strong, aggressive, and emotionally hardened. Well, if you're emotionally hardened, that's going to separate you from mama. It sure is. Anti-femininity. That's anti-mama, ain't it? Because she's made in the image of your mama. So if you're anti-femininity, that 9, right? Then you're anti-mama. Says men reject any and all feminine traits, including most emotion, accepting help, and domesticity. Right? They're not going to be picking up no brooms or cooking. They think that's your role because the Hammurabi laws told them so. Right? And power. Here goes that patriarchy, right? Right? Because if you're a man and you give into this toxic masculinity, you join a fraternal order. And you don't even realize it. But you know you're getting some sort of benefits. You know that you've gained power from this affiliation. Right? Because the other men are going to look out for you. When she says that you hit her, if it was a group of men there, they're going to say, I didn't see anything. Okay? It's that unspoken fraternal order that is existing amongst these men that are toxic. That men like mama's sons, they don't deem them worthy of it. Listen to what it says. Men are worthy only if they have money, power, status, and influence. Of course, some of these traits can be attributed to natural drives for ambition and adventure, or character traits common to boys and men. There's this guy, guys, that I watch. I'm going to highlight boys right now, who he's called the public offender, and I like to watch him because he stands up for women a lot. He just had an episode up, guys, where a group of 5-year-olds actually assaulted another 5-year-old little girl. She had to have the stuff, guys, that when you get surgery, I can't even think of the name right now, so early in the morning, to numb her areas in order for her just to be able to pee. So where are 5-year-old boys getting this non-consensual behavior from that we typically see in the men, right? Well, now we're seeing it in the boys. A group of 5-year-olds did this, guys. This toxic masculinity is spreading. It says, however, when the infringe on the freedoms and rights of others are forced upon someone as the right way to dude, or require the dude to deny their own full-range dudeness, right, to fit into a mold, then it's a problem, right? Because your full-range dudeness would be in tune with emotion. You would recognize you're harming someone. The embodiment of these traits can contribute to pernicious attitudes and behaviors towards women and marginalized groups. Surprisingly, cultural pressure to fulfill this masculine template can also lead men into a myriad of problems, of which repeatedly watching the movie 300 is the least of these. Here are just a few examples. All right, young boys are taught by their caretakers to toughen up or suck it up when hurt or facing a challenge. This is true. We create these men that we don't want to show emotion, right? And I've never told my kids, please don't cry, be tough, you're a boy. I've never told my kids that. But there is this group where if you see a boy pick up a doll, you're like, oh my gosh, put that down, put it down. Here's this football. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I don't know that that's created the type of men that that would be more in tune with the ex. I really don't know, but I don't know if it gets that deep. But we do teach emotional suppression, right? I don't care if they're in their schools at the time, their home. You know, people try to get boys to suppress their emotion. And I think that mama's sons are more in tune with their emotions and forced to, what, right here, man up. You know, but I think that they go against the grain no matter what. Mama's sons are going to be the ones that don't care that there's a collective group of people that want them to suck it up or toughen up. You know, and they'll be the ones, more than likely in my eyes, probably that look like Vicks, right? That daily somebody wants to challenge because they realize they're not going with the get along game, right? This man-up attitude matures into a rejection of empathy towards others and repackages nurturing impulses as weak. Anxiety can also develop if children are not trained to manage their feelings appropriately. Toxic masculinity opposes mental and physical health treatment, even when injured or emotionally struggling. Ignoring pain while pushing oneself to work or exercise can cause more physical damage. And this is why we'll see the men later on. You'll see men with abandonment issues, pushing people away. This can lead to raging. You know, you're just going to see different things materialize from holding your emotions in. They'll additionally suppress mental health issues such as depression, trauma, and anxiety, and can worsen symptoms and precipitate isolation, loss of jobs or friends, and even suicide. Funny that they're going to talk about suppressing mental health issues, right? Who do we see recently come out and tell us that he was SA'd or engaged in some sort of consensual actual activity, right? That was Ye. Ye said he had done things with his cousin, right? Now, and now you want to tell me that suppressing that trauma hasn't led to what we see in this dude. He is making all kinds of poor decisions, right? Rolling around with Moabites, pushing away his family, pushing away people within his community, right? You see this man troubled. It says men are encouraged to embrace an unhealthy lifestyle along with rigid independence. Men do dangerous sports, right? To prove their manhood. They engage in risky behaviors, have an unhealthy diet, and are encouraged towards excessive drug and alcohol use. This is true. Furthermore, men are taught to ignore asking for help as it could show fragility and provoke ridicule. And I think that's a big one right there. This is this peer pressure to be this toxic man. They want you to engage in dangerous sports that risk your life. Controlling and entitlement behaviors are perhaps the most discussed toxic traits. Masculine programming mandates that men, you hear that, right? You are being programmed, whether you know it or not, that men should assert dominance over their romantic, work, and social life by suppressing anyone not embracing the masculine program. And this is where you come into, son. It's not just us in the romantic areas where they're asserting their dominance. It's in their work life. It's in their social life. So if you have to even cross paths with this man, best believe they're going to be exerting their dominance. These are the men that's coming down the side of the sidewalk and looking you dead in your eyes, letting you know that they're not going to move. Our men deal with this daily too. They suppress anyone not embracing the masculine programming and demanding unearned loyalty and respect. The resulting domestic and social conflict include bullying towards the marginalized groups. And I'm going to have to say this, mama's men are going to fit in this marginalized group. It can lead to serious personal, occupational, and legal consequences. Yeah, men can be better. We can be better. While not an exhaustive list, here are a few changes we can implement to reprogram masculinity. Now, this is actually, while these might be good tips, they're not going to be in control of this because this has happened before. And when this happened before, listen, when this happened before, everything got wiped out, right? Everything got wiped out in the flood because this was what was prevailing. This stuff right here. You know, this is what was prevailing. And that's not the rulership that's not the rulership that was ordained for us guys. You know, when they came to our shores and saw how we were living, that symbiosis that we had in our domestic homes, right? In our family life, they had to disrupt that because it was the glue that was keeping Ephraim together. It's saying to fix this, you need to accept help from others. Let others be themselves and focus on yourself. Strive to pursue your own character and personal development. As a woman, when I was married, I did things that he wanted to do. It wasn't until we got divorced that I even started seeing the state I was living in. And that could not have been one of Mama's sons. One of Mama's sons is going to be able to express their emotion and be confident. But sons that ain't Mama's sons, they're going to be controlling. And they're going to outnumber these sons. So unfortunately, Sometimes I forget, man. You guys are living under that. And not only that, you guys have overcome this. Preconception, paternal mental disorders, and child health. Preconception, paternal mental disorders affect the neural development, affective and behaviors of the child. And this is happening before this child is even conceived, right? It's planted in his Y chromosome. The non-genetic mechanisms, especially epigenetics, plays an important role in the kind of paternal effects. Remember, guys, we were covering the epigenetics of the mitochondria. Well, now let's get into epigenetics of the paternal contribution. This effect can be prevented by exerting some environmental factors, running and drugs. I don't believe you need that, but I believe you need mama more than you know you need mama. In this fertility blessing, mental illness is a significant global health issue with a steady prevalence. High heritability is suspected, but genome-wide association studies only identified a small number of risk genes associated with mental disorders. This missing inheritance can be partially explained by epigenetic heredity. Evidence from numerous animal models and human studies support the possibility that preconception, right, paternal mental health influences their offspring's mental health via non-genetic means. So mama's sons are here dealing with the anxiety of this. You too are passing something down to your sons, whether you know it or not. It's the anxiety of living in this. While these men are passing down this toxic masculinity. Okay? You're captive to this too, guys. And I'm sorry I haven't recognized it till today. But I want you to know you too are going to be rescued from this. The woman will be rescued from the tyranny, and so will some of you men. They're talking about sperm epigenetics and seminal plasma components. Funny that they use that word, seminal, and they use this word plasma, right? Because I told you guys before that, I closed out etymology online, that you guys got to do a dig on that word plasma in etymology, right? Protoplasma. This is you in your clay form before you're molded. It's like you're just that big piece of clay. They call this an intergenerational, right, transmission of paternal psychiatric disorder. So this is what mama's combating when she keeps coming to the sons and saying, hey, I'm going to bless you with a seed through this one. I believe it's something on the X. And I have a suspicion that mama's sons are XX, that your X is intact. Let's read that. Intergenerational transmission of paternal psychiatric disorders and reduce the incidence of mental illness. Understanding the underlying mechanisms by which preconception paternal stress impacts offspring's health is critical for identifying strategies, supporting healthy development, and successfully controlling the prevalence of mental illness. This is why we see these high rates of mental illness in our communities, guys, because mama's sons are dealing with the stress of this, right? And these sons that don't belong to mama are passing down the toxic behaviors. So all of the offspring are one way or another being affected. This is why you keep seeing that blessing being shown up for a son. It's going to be passed down to a son through a daughter's womb. Okay, so you have to understand that it's going two ways, guys, that these stresses are being felt by mama's sons. They definitely are. Now, I had gotten to a place too, guys, that we were talking about Mama making sure that her good sons aren't affected by this, right? Because there was a point in time where the Creator was not thrilled by man and what man was doing. Right? I told you there had to have been a point where things were so bad. And we're getting back there, right? That's how you know we get ready to get out of here. So we're getting back there where man is affecting everything. Okay? Down to the creations, animals, plant life, our lives. Man is affecting everything at this moment. So let's check it out. Let's go back in time, right? Genesis 6:6-13 says, and it had repented the Creator that it made man on the earth, and it grieved the Creator in heart. And the Creator said, I will destroy man, whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beasts and the creeping thing, right? Remember the creeping thing. And the fowls of the air, for it repented me that I've made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in generations. And Noah walked with God. That's why I told you, is perfect in his ways. I don't think Noah possessed any diseases. And I could be wrong, right? I can't prove it. But I have located that this creeping thing is in fact herpetic family diseases, right? And it could be all diseases, maybe, because honestly, every bacteria, every virus, every fungi is actually an obligate parasite, right? Which is a creeping thing. So it doesn't just have to be herpetic viruses, guys. Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man, perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God. And Noah begot 3 sons, right? This generation stuff is kind of reminding me of that XX. Did Noah possess an XX? And Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And the earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And the Creator looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And the Creator said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence. Violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them from the earth. So they were using their might, right? They were using their might. Where'd it go? They were using the strength of that arm to subject everyone to violence. Earth was filled with violence. And the Creator looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted the way. God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come to me, earth is filled with violence. Behold, I will destroy them with the earth, okay? So there was a point where everybody suffered because of what these men did. And we're right on the cusp of where everybody is suffering because of what they're doing right now. But here's the difference. Let's keep going. And the Lord smelled, this is Genesis 8:21-22. And the Lord smelt a sweet savor. And the Lord said in his heart, I will not again curse the ground anymore for man's sake. Right? For the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. There's a certain group of men where this is true about. If you're listening to me, Ephraim, I'm not talking about you at all. I don't believe your heart is evil from the start. I believe that's what's different about you. And I think it's because your exes are intact. If not, mama's going to make them intact. There's something different about you, man of Ephraim. It's so different that when remember, you're carrying that same line of Joshua or Hosea, right? You're carrying that same line. There's something different about you. And it's so different that mofos knew not to mess with you. Look how Joshua, Hosea, held it down. Well into the age of 110, and they would not cross Ephraim's lines. This is what this toxic masculinity is stifling in you. That's what you come from, son of Ephraim. Imagination of man's heart is evil from the youth, right? Neither will I again smite any more everything living as I had done. Everything living was struck because of this toxic masculinity. Yeah, it was. The Creator said so. While the earth remaineth, seed time, harvest, cold and heat, and summer and winter, day and night shall not cease. This is a promise from the Creator to everyone. And I will establish my covenant with you. Neither shall all flesh be cut off anymore. Right. Sons of Israel are not going to have their flesh cut off by the waters of a field. But see, if you planting seeds in other nations, you're not blessed through this womb and breast. You're not one of these sons. It says, neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by waters of a flood. Neither shall there be any more a flood to destroy the earth. That's important to remember. And the Creator said, this is the token of the covenant, which I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you for perpetual generations. Okay? There was a covenant told to Noah about all of these generations, guys. To mama's sons. I'm going to tell you guys right now, I'm going to have to cut this into 2 parts. Because I want to get back to the never again will there be a flood. Okay? It's important that you remember that. Because there are actions being taken right now that are threatening us with climate change. But I don't want to get into that in this episode. I'm going to end it in this article right here. I want to talk about the XX male syndrome because I keep telling you that this is what I think is setting Israel apart. I can't prove it. But if there is a group of men that are going to be affected by that XY that they're carrying down here, that Y chromosome that they're carrying, there's a group of men, a large group of men that are going to be affected by this dying Y. Right? These are these men of these other nations. This is not what these men of Israel are carrying. That's why Israel will see their children, their daughters on shoulders. Right, guys? Yeah. If you've been watering that seed in the right nation, you're going to be okay. Listen, guys, this affects me too. My son didn't water his seed in the right nation. These are my 3 generations. That seed right there wasn't watered right. And I love that seed. It's my son in the middle, my dad on the left, and my grandson on the right with my son, who I lost. And I don't know which one of them, if any of them, would have been carrying that X, guys. But mama sent some sons that are. So I want you guys to know that this could possibly be that promise mama kept talking about blessing a son with, right? They're going to call it a testicular disorder, because what would have been so special about what mother was given? I mean, everybody was having children, right? Yeah, everybody was having children. So what would have been so special? Well, here's the thing that I think would have been special. If you're an XX carrier, they're going to say that you are infertile, right? You have infertility issues. You're not going to be able to have another child. I believe that you would be this XX male syndrome carrier, but still able to have a child. And that's what she was giving. You see that? They're going to tell you that this syndrome leads to infertility. I'm telling you, for it to be different, what if mama was given this XX, but making sure you were still able to be fertile, still able to make the babies? Look, XX men are presumed to have abnormalities. What did I just press? Y'all know I'm always pressing stuff. They're going to say that typically there's the abnormality with having babies, right? But see, the SRY, which will determine the sex, is actually going to be on the X in the men that are carrying this and not on the Y. That the men will have lower testosterone, all of this. But what if it's mama that's passing this down? Mama is in control of all of these side effects of a person that's carrying the XX syndrome. That's my belief personally. Okay? This syndrome is found in 1 out of 20,000 men. You are the fewest. It's found in 1 out of 20,000 male births. It's a rare genetic cause of infertility, they're going to say, right? But mama says, I'm going to make you many. No matter that you're carrying this XX, I'm promising you guys, I believe that's what she's given. I don't press this, sorry. It's going to affect the development of your testes, right? But your testes are going to look regular is what I believe. The sex-determining region is the key genetic component normally residing on the Y chromosome. That's going to be on the cursed men's chromosome. The SRY is typically on the Y chromosome. That's determining changing the female that's going to change the female egg to a male. It says 90% of the XX men have SRY, which normally resides on the distal portion of the Y, translocated to the X chromosome. The small number of these XX SRY negative men are believed to have undefined genetic abnormalities. They're going to call it an abnormality, but that's still a gift from mama. XX men are phenotypic males but have smaller testes, decreased height, and are uniformly infertile because of their absence of the genetic factor found on the Y chromosome that are critical for normal spermatogenesis, such as azoospermia factors. Thus, the karyotype is prognostic in these patients, and the patient is not a candidate for testes biopsy. See, so they're going to present all of these issues with you guys, supposedly, if you're carrying that XX that's specifically linked to issues in puberty. The testes are usually smaller. Yeah, they're going to list all of these issues. You guys are supposed to be more infertile, right? Let me see what else they're going to say down here. Feminine pseudo-hermaphroditism. Oh, wow. So they're going to say if you're an XX carrier, you're more likely to be susceptible to pseudo-hermaphroditism. female karyotyping. So karyotyping is what you are. Okay, so this is getting into intersexual stuff, right? So I could appear on the outside to look like a woman, but actually be carrying an XY, and it would be unknown to you because there's that chimerism, right? And we talked about the mother being a chimera of sorts because the mother is packing away that child DNA, right? She's keeping a record that the children were here. And these are the books of Israel we talked about. All right? They're going to call it a male disorder, right? I call it a blessing in a world full of an XY. If you are carrying this XX, they're going to say that you would be ambiguous in your genitalia. I don't believe that. I believe mama's at the wheel. You're not going to be ambiguous. You're going to look and present as a man. The only difference is your XX is intact. Mama has gifted you an intact XX. And this is what I believe Israel's carrying. So I'm going to bypass all of these disorders that are supposed to be affecting anyone carrying that XX, any male carrying XX. I don't believe you're going to be struck by these. I believe you're going to be an anomaly. That if they were to grab you off the street and test you, they would say, whoa, how is this man carrying an XX, yet he's able to give birth, yet he's tall, yet he's not developing breast, because a lot of these men that have this XX, they're going to say are developing breast and things of this nature. If they're developing breast and things of this nature, then that sounds more intersexual, whereas there wasn't a clear defining, between the two. That ain't going to be the case with Israel, and that's what was so special about what Mother was given. You understand what I'm saying? When she was like, I'm going to bless you with many, I'm going to bless you with a nation of many people. These abnormalities and infertility aren't going to affect you, man of Israel. They're not going to affect you. You are a son of Mama. You are that mighty branch on her almond tree. Why does Crystal have what looks like pears or something on it? Oh, those are almonds. Okay, I was going to say, Crystal, I said I wanted an almond tree. You are that mighty branch. You are her son. And we need you. I don't say that enough, but we do need you. Mama wants you to use that might in this cleanup process. Once she sweeps these people off of our lands. We need you, son of Mama. And I'm sorry that you have to share your space with these toxic men carrying that cursed wire. But soon, neither of us will be subjected to that. Not you, son, and neither will the daughters. Hang in there. It's been hard, it's true. I'll see you guys next week for this journey we're going on. Much love from the front line. Take care. It's your girl, Samar.